Let me turn the volume all the way up. I think I need to work on my volume on my videos, chat. All right, here. I'll play the video. If you guys get bored, cry about it. Can we watch the gay cowboy movie?
Yeah. You have to close off all the tournament tables, huh, Josh? No more tournaments? Are you serious? A lot of stores are going to be changing right now or shutting down.
The 2020 COVID pandemic hit the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG like an absolute hurricane, leaving chaos and destruction in its wake. Card shop closures, massive product delays, and the IRL competitive tournament scene basically being canceled for nearly 2 years. We all know how rough it's been over the last year and a half being a fan of this trading card game. As interesting as the pandemic's widespread negative effects on Yu-Gi-Oh! Have been, that's not what I'm going to be covering in this video today. As a content creator who at times throughout this pandemic has felt incredibly apathetic towards the game, and full disclosure, went 18 months without playing it, I feel the community would benefit from something positive and constructive. And thus in this video, I'll explain why I believe the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game has actually been saved. For starters, let's talk about real-life events, because I think they're the lifeblood of our game. We've all played Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games or one of the simulators, but if I said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. There simply is no substitute for an in-person event. This doesn't matter if you're brand new to the game, a YCS champion, or even an old seasoned, maybe a little washed up veteran like myself. Sitting at the table face to face with your opponent and seeing the long line of potential opposing duelists when you enter the venue. I've been going to regionals since 2006 and it still gives me goosebumps to this day. At their best, these tournaments are thrilling, fun, and incredibly rewarding when you do your best. But for a year and a half, we didn't have them. No locals, no regionals, no YCS events, no world championship. If like me, you love seeing old friends at events, traveling to new places, or even the small, minute things like trying to be able to read an opponent to see if they're bluffing, there really just wasn't an outlet. I'm in no way blaming Konami for this, and to their credit, they even created an entirely brand new way of dueling out of thin air in remote duels. But with something developed so quickly came a whole other smorgasbord of problems. Put aside the rampant cheating at remote duel events for a second. As MBT alluded to after playing in an event,
man, it is just not the same. So much of Yu-Gi-Oh! Has to do with Yu-Gi-Oh! Not at all. It's about being with a community, all sort of competing for the same goal. It's about talking with friends. It's about late nights brewing. It's about pushing your deck to its absolute limits, and so little of that can be represented online. It just doesn't compare having in-person flesh and blood Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus like this weird Skype dueling on a platform like Discord that is not designed to have 500 people streaming at any given time.
Remote duels are an incredibly impersonal experience. This is especially noticeable in between rounds when, rather than chatting with friends, you're often sitting in a room by yourself. Sure, there were online dueling book tournaments hosted by the likes of Luxury Games and Dragon Riders, and those were fine, I guess. Forgetting for a moment that some of these Yu-Gi-Oh! Groups use their own bizarre rules for these events, like how Luxury Games still uses the time rules from 4 years ago. In my opinion, BB tourneys, while nice, just don't stack up to the real thing. Speaking for myself here, without any premier events to play at, things like buying cards, the meta, and competitive tiers just felt pointless and pretty frustrating. Like, who cares how strong Adamanticators are when I can't play them because there are no real events? Why would I spend $100 on Elders the Golden Lord if it's just going to sit in my binder and collect dust for the same reason? That was my sentiment towards things for a long time, but fast forward to now, and it's finally a new day. First things first, competitive events, large and small, are finally back. In fact, regionals are happening in Europe right now, and more importantly, the YCS circuit is returning worldwide. Not only is it important because it shows that things are finally getting back to normal in terms of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!, but from what I've seen, almost everyone in the community is on the edge of their seats in anticipation. Just as a reminder, we haven't had one of these since YCS Las Vegas back in February 2020. After an excruciatingly long wait, we'll be able to not only have some of the best and most prestigious events again, but also crown champions and develop and evolve a meaningful metagame. Don't forget, these events are how Yu-Gi-Oh! Got into the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest trading card tournament ever. They matter, and they're what a lot of people look forward to for months. Next, I want to talk about the vast improvement the products has of late. This is obviously opinionated, but I've spoken to dozens of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists, and they all seem to agree 2021 was a pretty terrible year in terms of products, at least until lately. All things being equal, it doesn't seem to really matter what angle you look at it from. The core sets were laughably bad. Blazing Vortex, Dawn of Majesty, and Lightning Overdrive were abysmal follow-ups to Phantom Rage and Rise of the Duelist. Sure, the sets might have had a few good cards or two, maybe like Pot of Prosperity, or even premiered support for an awesome theme.
By the way, chat, so all of this, me talking about the improvement, all of this has been like completely cut from the new video. This will never be seen. Like, these are all points that just completely scrapped. Since the overall tone of the video changed, I didn't feel it necessary to talk about any of this stuff. So like this, all of this is just completely scrapped. It's gone.
Theme, which makes said theme fringe
Just
competitively viable, like the synchro support.
Where's our
of
money?
Majesty.
It's not
but
going on
being
YouTube.
objective, the sets overall were just pretty disappointing. Now compare those to our most recent, and in my opinion, by far best core set of the year in Burst of Destiny.
By far.
This set premieres 2 meta decks right out of the box in Fluunderies and Sword Soul. Combine that with, as its name suggests, a new meta-breaking Destiny hero. So powerful, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is starting to be reminiscent of the 2007 GX era days when Malicious was played in basically everything. Another big hit was the recent Gold Series Eldorado. This set brought us long-desired reprints like Verte Anaconda, Access Code Talker, and Invocation. It also had some pretty unexpected but amazing alternate artworks like Eldritch the Golden Lord, Danger Bigfoot, and Rescue Cat. It covered tons of competitive themes and archetypes, and even had some stuff in there for the collectors and more casual-based duelists. Sure, our last 4 structure decks have been nearly as bad as Sin, one of which I blame solely on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, which voted for Ice Barrier strictly as a meme, but much to my shock, the Albaz structure deck looks like it's going to be God-tier Soul Burner level, especially if they don't take out the Pot of Extravagance and Dark Ruler No More reprints. My point here, just like before, is that things are just getting better. The last thing I want to touch on is the competitive meta, and how much more diverse it is now than it was before. I guess it's somewhat ironic that Secret Slayers was released right at the start of the event cancellations. I don't think it's a stretch to say that with Adamancipator and Eldritch, we could have seen a deck building pack give birth to multiple YCS winning archetypes. The things those decks could do was absolutely insane. Near unbreakable boards for an investment of just a couple of cards has really seemed to be the name of the game since the pandemic started. Dragon Link, Adamancipator, Eldritch Synchro, Infernoble, Virtual World, and Tritron have been putting the fear of God into duelists for nearly the last 2 years. That in itself might be one of the problems with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Metagame since the pandemic started. A vast majority of the dominant meta contenders have been build an unbreakable board combo deck. Control and Stun, if anyone even plays that anymore, have largely been cast to the wayside. Regardless of your own personal views on combo, control, and stun, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is at its best if severely dominated by any one of them for such a long period of time. Today, things are pretty different in the competitive meta. We have a broad spectrum of control and combo battling for format supremacy. Over the past month, we've had 2 Remolto YCS events as well as an online 400-person LCS. Based on the results of these 3 events, it seems like almost any fairly strong deck built by a competent duelist has a chance of success. Take the LCS that took place in late November, for instance. That event had 13 different decks in its top 16. Coincidentally, the North American Remolto YCS also saw 13 decks in its top cut. At this point, it feels like a bar mitzvah in terms of strategies and archetypes. If you like Control, Eldritch Invoked, or Sky Striker might pique your interest. More of a combo fan? Then look no further than Drytron, Phantom Knights, or Lairlu's Tri-Brigade. There's truly something for everyone in the format, and I've even seen the likes of Doki, Adamancipator, Fluffle, to Evil Twins topping events in the TCG. Honestly, it has me pretty giddy to play at a regional qualifier near me. Of course, the format still has its issues that a lot of duelists don't care for, like Mystic Mine, Imperial Order, Artifact Scythe, and, well, the Brave Engine that might throw everything into whack like it did in the OCG. But from what I've seen and from the results that we've been seeing from the high competitive events, It's a really good time for rogue decks, and diversity is abundant. In closing, I'll be objective, and I won't declare that everything has been bad over the past 18 months. However, I can't ignore that for the first time in what feels like forever, I'm actually playing and buying cards again. The excitement around the game seems to be rapidly rising, and the future of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game looks incredibly bright.
Wow. That's like the most copium ending, chat. So Sosa says I should still upload this. Like, it's I can't. It's just not accurate. Like this.
Time in what feels like forever.
Listen.
I'm actually playing and buying cards again. The excitement around the game seems to be rapidly rising, and the future of the
not true. At least not anymore with all the YCS canceled.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game looks incredibly bright.
No. So I thought the video was good. I would have been completely content uploading this video, but just too much has changed about this video. There's still certain things that are true, like the entire section about the improvements to sets. Like, that's true, but the overall theme of the video is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been saved. Things are gonna be great. They're getting back to normal, and like that's just not true anymore, chat. So like I can't in good conscience just upload the video. It would be silly.